All right, well, I'm gonna do a quick audio test again here. So, I'm
Okay.
talking. Hello. All right, let's pretend. Hey, how you doing? What's up today? Hey,
I'm
hey.
I'm getting I'm getting kicked on the outside and the inside.
Why you getting kicked? You better stop all that kicking. Tell that
I've
baby.
got children.
Tell
Children.
tell that baby ain't no more kicking in this world. I was trying to do some like improv, but you brought it to real world stuff.
Okay.
I'm gonna intro Z we talk about what's it again? Haunted Chocolate Factory. The Haunted Chocolate Factory by the Concerned Ape. That's his name, right?
Yeah, ConcernedApe or Eric Barone, I think his name is, his actual name.
I brought my sister on to talk about it because we both played Stardew Valley, but she played it way fucking more than me. And I like the game well enough, but I don't know enough about it to really talk about it on my own. So she's here to talk about it. So go go ahead. Do you know about the recent stuff, the update stuff?
So I don't know. I haven't been keeping close tabs on it just because I haven't been keeping close tabs on anything lately.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know that it's that it's really heavily action RPG, almost like fighting and business versus Stardew Valley, which was very just kind of dipped its toes in everything, the farming being the biggest thing, but then
Mm-hmm.
relationships and a little bit of dungeon crawling and mining and fishing. But I was gonna say, it is an appealing concept to me, even though it's not quite a Stardew Valley 2.
Yeah, I was really surprised by the fact that it's not essentially that new of an idea because there's been plenty of games like it, like Moonlighter. Of course, Moonlighter's a roguelike, so you lose your stuff if you die. Who knows, maybe that's coming to it too, but even like Reciteer, the idea of like you go out, you fight stuff, and then you bring back the loot and you manage a shop, it's been done before, but that's not to say that's bad or even negative in any kind of way because I find that kind of game appealing. The whole building up everything through your adventuring. Like you said, like in a lot of RPGs, you build up yourself and whatnot through your adventures and the combat and whatnot. So I think that's actually pretty cool that he's going that direction, which is way different from spending, I don't know, 20 hours setting up a farm and building it up. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, well, Eric also has this really good, just this storyteller. I'm not sure how to describe it, but his characters are really interesting, even if there's not a huge story. But usually there is a story, even within the setting of the game. Like with Stardew Valley, it was Joja Corp, and then you
Oh
have a couple
yeah.
of other ones once you updated the game. It's been a long time since the updates, but I won't bring it up just because I don't know how many people are out of the loop with Stardew Valley.
I forgot all
Um,
about that stuff. The whole Joja Core thing and like the city hall.
yeah, and so he's always puts a unique spin on his games in that way. And I think that you'll probably end up having to suffer consequences for like dying or losing or getting knocked out, whatever his approach is to dungeons and fighting.
Was that in
Because I
mining?
think
Or not mining, but yeah, it is mining, isn't it? Like, don't you go into the caves, then you mine and also fight stuff?
with Stardew Valley, yeah, you go
Yeah.
into the mines and you fight stuff and you pass out and then you'll lose a couple of random items out of your bag.
Oh, maybe he might bring that back then. I don't know. Maybe it won't be so different from Moonlighter. Who knows?
Yeah, he added a feature in Stardew where you can go and buy some of those items back
Hmm.
from the Adventurers Guild. Like they play it off as they went into the mines themselves and they found the stuff and they're like, well, you can have it back for a price.
Let me
Or
look
you
up.
can choose one item. Maybe it's you can choose one item for free, but Yeah, but it's a concept in Stardew Valley as well, so that's something he might expand upon or reuse.
Yeah, he released this update called like Combat Shields, Stuns, and My Approach.
Sorry, no, I don't need the article.
Okay, I'll send it to you anyways.
Okay.
Anyways, in it he essentially says that there's going to be a greater focus on combat, as well as things like shields, which was not in Stardew Valley. I remember that specifically. It looks like
No,
there's
that
also
wasn't.
there's also like other weapons like bows. Were there? I think there was like
There's a slingshot in
yeah,
Stardew Valley.
a slingshot. So there's
Not my favorite.
gonna be other things that you can use in the offhand, as well as like a whole. Yeah, okay. So there's a lot of combat focus going on with this apparently.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. It looks kind of like it might have a steampunk vibe to it, just from what I've seen. Like I said, I'm not totally up to date on what it is, but from the screenshots that were released, it looks like it could almost have a steampunk vibe. So it does make me wonder if there'll be things like guns in the game. I don't know if that was introduced or talked about at all in the gameplay trailer, or what kind of weapons there will be.
Was there like a lot of magic in Stardew Valley? I know there was like the wizard and he could do some weird stuff, but was there like
No, there wasn't any magic for the player. It was all NPC based magic, like the wizard or the witch,
mhm.
that turns your chickens into void chickens or whatever.
Void chick? What?
Well, in Stardew Valley, you have a random chance of the witch, who is apparently the wizard's ex-wife, flying over your farm and turning your regular chickens into void chickens.
What the fuck? Maybe I need to go back and play through more of this.
Yeah, maybe you need to play a little bit more. But that's what I'm saying. Like, with the storytelling aspect, I can't imagine this is going to be an uninteresting game, even if your favorite part of Stardew Valley is the farming.
Oh yeah. That was something else I was gonna mention, was that I was very surprised to see him take a completely different direction, because there's a lot of people that played the game to like really sit back and relax and just run a farm. I feel like I've heard that more often than not, that it's like, oh yeah, I just kick back and I play it like it's almost like a Animal Crossing type game where you just kind of manage it rather than like focusing on combat. And who knows what they're gonna have in Haunted Chocolatier, but builds maybe, stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Crafting would be an interesting thing to have in Haunted Chocolatier. It was there was a little bit in Stardew, but it was a little primitive, like crafting objects for your farm. But I feel like a lot of people who played Stardew Valley were also the type of people who don't mind grinding a game.
Oh yeah, definitely not.
I mean, of course, there's a subset of players who just relax, chill. They don't want to grind the game. They'll just play it as it comes, and if they lose the community center, or they go straight with Joja in the first place because they don't really want to do all the grind, then But
Yeah.
grinding is something that happens even in regular Stardew Valley gameplay, just because you have a time limit of when you can get these set these goals to get the best ending.
I always liked how positive the game came off as well. Stardew Valley is like, very rarely is there a negative thing that happens. Maybe there's a couple story elements, like, well, maybe I shouldn't spoil it either, but during a couple like character friendship / romance routes, there's a couple things that could be contrived as negative, but overall it's a pretty heartwarming game, and very rarely does anything like that ever happen. So I was gonna say maybe they'll take kind of a different route with this one, but I kind of doubt it, honestly. I think it's gonna still be pretty heartwarming as far as the writing goes.
I think this one could have a darker start to it, and then just end up being very wholesome and heartwarming. Stardew Valley did, and I won't spoil it either, but I've been through pretty much all of the not all the romances, but I've maxed out friendship stars even with the romance candidates.
Mhm.
And there's some pretty dark implied stuff in the game.
Yeah, definitely.
I think you're right. I think in the end it's gonna be, even if it maybe starts off a little bit more dreary, which, with a game like named Haunted Chocolatier, you'd think you're in this weird kind of obscure little, maybe even a little bit of a dead town, and your chocolate factory kind of brings joy and wholesomeness to the town.
I just wonder, like, how far is it gonna go into like the haunted? Like, it's a haunted chocolatier. Does that mean like there's gonna be a bunch of horror and demons and stuff like some Diablo? You're gonna bust open the chocolate factory. It's gonna be hell beneath it. Go down like the church in Diablo 1. Venture a little too far. Meet Diablo in the fiery pits of hell. In the fiery pits of chocolate.
I think we're just gonna have to wait for more information to. I'm not sure that even trying to assess what the story could be is gonna work out in any way, because there's just no telling what we've only ever had Stardew Valley come out of. I mean, as far as games go, we've only ever had Stardew Valley come out with ConcernedApe, so it's, unless he's released other small medias that we haven't seen, like maybe storytelling things or artworks that haven't been posted to his main account. There's no telling if he'll suddenly go full Diablo with the haunted, or if it's just like it's associative with the fact that the town is abandoned to a point and you're going out and fighting monsters to try to revitalize the town and collect ingredients for the factory.
Mm-hmm.
In a more like you have to get the spirits out of the town and the monsters out of the town.
That would be pretty interesting if you're like going through this abandoned town with this haunted chocolate factory, exorcising demons out of like the workshop. That would be pretty funny. The big old chocolate ghost.
I think it could provide for some really interesting gameplay if there is actually not that I'm like a ghost believer or anything in real life, but
Right.
If there was spirits associative with abandoned buildings and houses, and part of what you do story-wise for the town is just releasing those spirits,
Mm-hmm.
so that people come back into the town.
That'd be pretty sweet. Yeah, because in the video they show you a town that is already like revitalized, but who's to say how far into it that goes, right? Like how far in the gameplay that is. So who knows? Maybe there'll be a bunch of sectioned off places, or maybe they just have like a big open world. I don't want to say open because that's a little, that wouldn't be as crafted, but some open space to explore.
I was just gonna say, it's possible that the town's not abandoned at all, and haunted could mean maybe just associative with our own character being haunted by
his past
monsters at night, or
that would be scary
when they go out, or spirits when they go out to monsters and spirits when they go out to collect items, and it's not associative with the town at all.
Well, if it was like Bloodborne, you sleep during the day, you wake up at night. No, actually, going back to something like Moonlighter, that's actually kind of how it worked, was that during the day, you're operating your shop, selling off things that you get from the dungeon. You do that during the day, and then at night, you actually go out, and you go into the dungeon. And I don't know how that man got any sleep, but that's essentially how it worked. In the dungeon all night, working the shop all day, come back, get 3 hours of sleep. That sounds like a nightmare to me, the hunter's nightmare. Let the man chop my head off with that scythe.
And I could see that as being an aspect of the gameplay where your day is actually split into two.
Yeah.
So you have the day and then the night. But I don't know how well that would work in terms of if he was going to have days like Stardew Valley where you need to be home by a certain time or you pass out.
Or the chocolate demon gets you.
Or the chocolate demon gets
Chocolate
Though
Diablo.
Chocolate rain. A baby born will die before the sin.
That's totally possible. There won't even be a day system in this game.
Yeah. Yeah, this is all assuming that he does anything that's similar to Stardew, which already looks like he's not. That's
Yeah, well, other than his signature art style,
Yeah.
and of course his storytelling ability. Even if the story is not the same, it's still going to be reflective of how he writes stories as a person.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll see similarities there.
So you seem
But
pretty
gameplay wise,
good.
but yeah, gameplay wise, it doesn't look like it's very closely entwined with Stardew Valley.
You seem pretty like drawn to the story and the writing of Stardew Valley. So let me ask you this: what exact? And this is gonna lead into another thing. What exactly is it about Stardew Valley that you would say you like, that draws you to play it more?
I kind of like that even though it's a pre-built story, like things that you say aren't necessarily going to, I mean, to a point, the character, if you say something completely rude to one of the characters, they're going to get pissed off at you, at least temporarily.
Yeah.
But what you say doesn't necessarily determine how the story is going to go.
Hmm.
But it doesn't come off as being restrictive either.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because when you hit each milestone with the relationships in the game, you're still going to get the same dialogue no matter how you answered previous questions, most of the time.
All right.
Or with very few small variances. Like it might get brought up again, but it'll be in the same context as however you could have answered the question. So it'll just replace, like, I heard you like romance, or I heard you like sci-fi.
I do like sci-fi.
But that'll be the extent of the change. It won't change the direction the story goes, but it doesn't feel restrictive in that way, which is why I like the storytelling aspect of Stardew Valley.
Would you say you like the gameplay as far as like, managing a farm and stuff like that?
With Stardew Valley, I actually like the fact you can dip your toes in everything.
Okay.
I enjoy the grind of trying to get things done in the first 2 years of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Or even the first year of the game. So I'm not really focused on the farming, though I do enjoy the farming to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that you can the fact that you can switch to something else if you want. So you don't have to farm every day. You can.
Essentially, you like the diversity of
I like the
things
diversity,
that you can do.
and that's the only thing that kind of scares me about this game is that it's not going to be as diverse. Like I can't take a day and do farming instead of dungeoneering. I'm probably going to have days. The days are going to probably mostly be uniform where you run the shop and you talk to people and you have a small amount of time where you can, get, because there's a shop that looks like it's inside of a blacksmith store. And so I'm sure there's a point where you can stop running your shop and talk to villagers outside, but then you're probably always going to have to go into the dungeon like daily thing or into the forest or wherever the fighting's going to take place to get the fighting done and get the ingredients so that you can continue to run your store.
Okay, yeah, I see what you mean on that. And I can kind of agree with that because one of the things I really liked about Stardew, the couple, 40 hours I played of it, is that there was a lot of things that you could do, fishing, like you said, dungeoneering. And even on top of that, stuff like just talking to citizens of the town and building relationships, and sometimes they'll do stuff for you and you do the stuff for them. And, just exploring, different areas. Collect things that you can give them because they have different likes. and the way that they can even interact with the way that NPCs can even interact with each other, and especially the cool events that happen, like on the 15th of May, there's a celebration where we all put food into a big stew, and you can put like the worst stuff into the stew, and everybody's like, "Ew, what the fuck? What is this?"
Yeah, just put the mayor's underwear in there.
Yeah,
It's fine.
stuff like that. I like that stuff. I thought it was really cool, and of course the co-op is
Yeah.
always a blast.
Yeah, and I'm sure there'll be aspects of that in this game as well. But that's what I mean is like you can't take a day to do fishing or farming, or it seems more like it's going to be a more structured schedule versus sandboxing what you want to do that day out of the activities available.
So from that previous question into this one, the previous one being, what do you like about Stardew Valley? What do you think can be in the game, just as a minimum, of Haunted Chocolatier? What can be in the game as a minimum that you would say, this is a fucking good game and I want to play this? Aside from just
Honestly,
it being from him.
Yeah, no, and what I was going to say is that at minimum, as long as the gameplay is, enjoyable enough and the characters and whatever plot is going to be in there are compelling enough to draw me in, even if the gameplay isn't perfect. Like Stardew Valley obviously isn't perfect in all of its aspects either. But as long as, especially the story and the characters are compelling and it draws me back to figure out what's happening or what more there could be. If the gameplay is mediocre, it's not such a big deal to me personally for ConcernedApe's games.
For me personally, because we both played this game together, but I was always doing the mining and the combat stuff and then going and talking to people. So for me, this is like perfect for him to put this much of an emphasis on the combat and, how that whole thing goes. But I can definitely understand the whole, because I also like to go fishing. Fishing was also something I quite enjoyed in Stardew Valley. So I hope he does have some more diverse things other than just combat. I don't think anything's set in stone at this point. It's obviously very early on. But I can say that I am looking forward to it because I do like those kinds of games as well.
Yeah, and I'm definitely looking forward to this game as well, just in the fact that I do like, again, just his style, his storytelling, and I think that he's able to make compelling games, and just because of the fact that he's a very interesting person and he can put together these compelling stories and plots that they're never even fully answered, a lot of them, but you don't feel like, and again, the stories they're set in stone to a point, but you don't ever feel like you've lost your choice in what you're doing, or that it's not interesting because you're not totally controlling the gameplay.
Yep, I can agree with that 100%. Do you have anything else you want to talk about? Because I can't think of anything else.
At this point, I don't think I have anything else to talk about. Like I said, I haven't seen the actual gameplay trailer, and maybe I should have watched it before we went into this, but I didn't feel it was necessary just to talk about the speculation with this game, since there's not really, even with a gameplay trailer, there's not that much information on it yet.
Yeah, it's pretty bare. We're kind of just talking out our asses about what we like about Stardew and what we hope will be in the next one. But,
Yeah, I mean, as far as what I'd want to see in this game, I think that a lot of it is very, nitpicky stuff, like feedback from Stardew Valley, just having more diverse character sprites. Not that the characters look all the same, but very, very nitpicky things, like having sprites that change their outfits if there's seasons in the game, or that change if there's relationships, and he decides to take a route where you can have kids again, or the kids sprites look a little different, or maybe if you have a wife, they look like they're pregnant if they get pregnant. I don't know, just kind of niche,
Small
silly little
stuff.
things. Other than that, I don't mind the game taking its own route.
Yeah, just little details like that are always welcome. Little details
Yeah,
of
I
the sprites.
appreciate seeing small things like that. And a lot of games don't do it, and so if this game didn't do it, I wouldn't be disappointed, but I would be happy to see it.
Definitely. And I guess with that, ain't nothing else. So, goodbye. You can say goodbye if you want. I don't know. And
All right, goodbye. Have fun editing this.
yeah. And I hope Chocolate Diablo's in Haunted Chocolatier. Am I saying the name right?
All
Yeah,
right.
Haunted Chocolatier.
Yeah.
I hope a haunted chocolate Diablo comes out and eats the chocolate fact. I hope Willy Wonka's in this game.
You
What
are
if-
Willy Wonka.
But what if there was like a haunted Willy Wonka, like the past owner of the Chocolatier place? Haunted Willy Wonka, he tells you,
You must go deep into the dungeons and slay Diablo of the chocolate.
I don't know if it'll get that far, but you may have inherited this chocolate factory from Willy Wonka spirit.
what if it actually just looks like Willy Wonka? Like purple coat and everything. Oh wait, but hold up, wait, what Willy Wonka? We talking about old school Willy Wonka or like, hello sunshine, the sun rises with you?
And Johnny
or
Depp, Willy Wonka.
Yeah, and the machete fucking slaying bitches.
Probably a more old school Willy Wonka. I mean, Johnny Depp Willy Wonka is very like clean and smooth, and the style of a lot of the more diverse characters in Stardew Valley, like the ones you don't interact with as much, are kind of interesting looking.
I hope they got Gene Wilder fucking Willy Wonka with the fucking boat
Yeah,
goes down the
that's
chocolate
probably who
river.
they'd have.
Okay, goodbye.
The game, no reason to play.
Oh, the ghost of Gene Wilder's coming back for the chocolate factory. Oh shit.
Give it to us, we're Charlie.
Oh yeah, I forgot. No, Charlie's coming back. Charlie and Gene Wilder coming back to beat that ass. Say, bitch, that's my chocolate. The fuck? Wait, hold up. Here's another theory. What if the grandpa comes back? You know, you remember
Why
the
would
grandpa? The grandpa,
I know
Charlie?
who
Charlie's
the grandpa is.
What if he comes back and does that little hopscotch fucking kick with his fucking heels and shit?
He's not gonna take it that. He's not gonna take it that far.
He
He's not
should.
gonna put a whole Charlie and the Chocolate Factory thing in there. He'll get sued.
That should be the opening of the game. You go into the chocolate factory. Gene Wilder's there. Charlie, Grandpa's there. They all go da 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 da. They're all fucking doing the heel kicks and shit. Fucking, and then a big chocolate fucking pentagram comes onto the walls. My chocolate. Fucking chocolate flames come up from the ground. Oh my god.
So the Oompa Loompas come out of the flames with glowing red eyes.
Oh god, you gotta kill the Oompa Loompas, make chocolate out of them. That would be.
That's the whole game. You just kill the Oompa Loompas, and it creates chocolate.
This sounds more
end.
like Johnny Depp Chocolate Factory. Like I was saying, coming out with the machete, slaying bitches.